I saw the writing on the wall for this a few episodes back. I really did. And I was like, ooh. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. This is season 10, episode 8. This was kind of tumultuous. And when I'm talking about the thing that I saw, the writing on the wall, was Young Jock and his son. I saw this. I said, there's no way that Jock and his son are going to be able to keep going forward with the level of respect and the level of disrespect that was apparent. And I said, this is going to go bad. And it did. And we're going to talk about it. But let's start here. Let's start. This has been the issue with this whole season of Atlanta. There's too much migration. We used to think that it was really cute when the coasts would migrate, and sometimes we see somebody from New York pop in or somebody from Miami pop in. This season is inundated with New York, Atlanta, and now we got Trick Daddy and Safaree is down in Miami, which makes no sense. It makes no sense. You all have followed Safaree to Miami. He's not working. He's just in Atlanta visiting. In Miami visiting. When he was actually in New York, then he moved to Atlanta. Now he got his ass over there in Miami. Come on. It's a bit too much. It's a bit too much. There should never be a time when I'm watching Love and Hip Hop and I get confused about which area that I'm actually dealing with. Because literally watching Love and Hip Hop Atlanta this season it feels like Love and Hip Hop New York. It literally has taken on, I'm going to tell you, I've always loved Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Atlanta has its own thing. Atlanta was my favorite before Miami came. I love Miami. I love Love and Hip Hop Miami. I do. There's a whole different energy of Love and Hip Hop Miami, and I've said that before. It's like a party. It's more youthful, is what it is. It's more youthful. It really feels like baby hip hop. Like it's like there are naturally you got heavy hitters like Trina and you got Trick Daddy, but it just seems so youthful there. And you know there was a lot more people trying to get on. Over in Atlanta, you had a lot of seasoned folk like Scrappy and Rasheeda. You had Benzino and just a couple of the folks who Stevie J. They were pretty much OGs, and then you got Stone Cold OGs over in New York. You got Remy Ma, and you got Richie Dollars, and you got Chrissy, and that whole gang. They're like true live what hip hop is. New York is hip hop. So each place had its own vibe, its own atmosphere. Well, now Atlanta feels like New York, flat out. And then to merge Miami in, I just feel like I'm just sitting in a travel agency from week to week. I'm just sitting in a travel agency looking through some of their photo albums. That's how my, watching the show feels for me. It's weird. I'm here. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. No matter what turns Love and Hip Hop takes, I'm going to be right here watching. I am a fan. But this is what I'm getting as a viewer. I don't know where I am half of the time. I don't know what the vibe that I'm supposed to be feeling. And I'm telling you, I'm thrown off. I said this. I'm thrown off from the beginning of the show. As soon as the show comes on, I'm thrown off already because I literally hate the new intro. And I don't know, it just, maybe I pay too much attention to small details of stuff. That is who I am. You know, ain't nothing I could do about that. But I'm thrown off when I don't hear that. The other one just hit so hard. I just loved it. This new intro, I just don't like it. And I'm already off when it comes in. So that's that. But Safaree got his old behind over there with Trick Daddy, which is just not a good idea. It's not a good idea. We already know. If you have marital problems, don't go hang with Trick. Trick even told him, if you stay here over here hanging with me for a week, that marriage is over. If she lets you hang and she all right with it, she done already moved on. And he ain't lying. He ain't lying. Some hot tail went by, honey, and Trick's like, you need to go ahead and get it off your system. I'm like, excuse me, hello. If you're not solid in your person, he not the guy to hang with. He'll have you just like him, miserable. Because he miserable. All he wants is joy. And he messed that up for the most part. So he ain't hashtag goals for the relationship. So Safaree's over there. All while that's going on, go back on over there to Atlanta. Erica's throwing paint on motorcycles and slashing tires because she angry and she pregnant. And all this kind of carrying on. Then we find out later in the episode that the damn house that been broken in. He ain't came home yet. He ain't came home yet. And then she got footage of him in the club dancing and carrying on. It just is not helping. Bambi came over, they're talking, and she's talking about like being ready to file for divorce. Now, I don't know how much of this they're putting on for the show, but even in, when I take a peek in the real time, Erica and Safaree don't seem to be doing very well. It just doesn't seem to be going very well at all. Moving on. Let's talk about little Tate. So, all right. So your storyline has come full circle. Your storyline came full circle. You got the gay storyline. That's what happened? Little Tate? We watched you deal with your little fella that you so-called was really liking, which didn't seem, it seemed so one-sided, like you were all into it, he wasn't all into it. And now, after this week, it seems as though it has manifested and it all has come full circle into what it was. This was the gay storyline. This season, we got a lesbian storyline. So, thank you for that. I guess. I think it was pretty cheesy the way y'all led us into it. But that's okay. That's okay. It is what it is. I thought it was quite cheesy, but all right. So Tate goes and she gets a reading and she's there with the girl and she got the tarot cards and she's doing all of this. And I'm like, I thought the reading was really strange because it really was all this girl power stuff. And I'm like, yeah, there's never too much talk about girl power because it definitely is a thing. It definitely is a movement. It definitely is not a thing that women need to stop hearing. They need to hear it. You need to hear constantly that you're worth something. You need to hear that there is power in the numbers of you. You need to hear that you matter. You definitely need to hear it. Because there is so many things that goes on that has to do, it ain't got nothing to do with the gays, it ain't got nothing to do with the trans, it has nothing to do with the LGBTQIA whatsoever. There's a whole thing with women that they need to know their worth. They need to really squash out and trample out this colorism thing that be happening between women, because a lot of that keeps women separated and divided. Those issues, no, you'll never hear too much of it. Those issues have to be addressed. We have to, we have to hear it, and the more you hear it, like with everything else, the more you hear it, the more it gets exposed, the more people come out and say what's going on. People get to see them, and then we could stomp on the haters, straighten out the people that don't kind of know, and just make people aware that this is garbage, and it is what it is. So the colorism issue, it's big, amongst our women, and it plays a large part where our darker skinned women, are really affected by this thing of not being valued and all of this. I don't have to go through all of it. It's an issue. And even on the other hand of it, lighter skinned women, they, there's abuse that takes place there as well. They all have their own plight. They all have their own voice that needs to be heard. So we definitely need to hear all of that. I just didn't get where the tarot, because the tarot reading really wasn't really geared to that. I was like, what is the message that you're trying to convey? I said, well, maybe this is it. Maybe it's not. But it just didn't seem. I was like, I didn't think that the whole relationship with the girl power thing was the thing with Tate. I was like, it always seemed like something else to me. It just seemed like it was, I don't know, like she was putting 20 on 10. It just didn't seem right. Then it started making sense. It's like, oh, storyline. But okay, we needed to hear it. Girl power, girl power, girl power. Black girls rock. Absolutely. I'm here for it. I'm here for the movement. I'm here to talk about it. I'm here for it. I think it needs to be heard. Boom. No problem. This thing wasn't that. Oh, girl, you need to just... It seemed, though, the tarot reading, she was leaning in that space to say, yeah, you need to know your worth. But what she was really doing and really saying, is this okay to really be you, is what I got. Once we got to the second, that was in the first half of the show. And then when we rolled through, I felt really empty with the tarot card reading. I was like, something that's weird. I didn't get that. I didn't get how you go from her relationship to a whole thing of like, know your worth, this, that, and the other. Then when we got to the second half of the program, we seen her go out on a date with this girl who she literally had done. She's a hairdresser. She had done her hair before. And she starts talking about the fact that she is bisexual. I said, bang, bang, bang. There we go. Bingo. This is what you all were doing. You all were lightening the road and opening the door to have the conversation of bisexuality and lesbianism, and that in hip-hop. The tarot card reader part was useless, in my opinion. It was useless. It wasn't needed. It's okay to just open the door and say, hey, lesbianism exists in the hip-hop world. And then let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's just go ahead and say, we're going to explore this now. Like we had a gay couple, like we had Milan, Christopher, and old boy that was with him. We just opened the door and boom, they were there. We could have just opened the door for little Tate and old girl. We didn't have to go through all that. We didn't have to dance the dance of, oh, she's bisexual. I feel like we skating. And we were glazing over the issue. Lesbianism has never been a huge issue. Lesbianism has always been more accepted in the real world than homosexuality. So all of that just felt like playing in our faces. That's how I felt. It could just be me. It's not. But we'll see it in the comments, what y'all think. But I felt like they were playing in our faces and doing this whole little thing. And I didn't like it. I was like, it's just, child, we're adults. We could take it. We're cool. Come on, let's just do it. But lesbianism ain't no real big deal. Girls dating each other, it ain't no real big deal. You didn't even introduce stud versus femme, or a lipstick lesbian. You literally just gave us a lesbian and a bisexual woman. It's no big deal. It's never been a big deal. It is what it is. Lil Tate's bisexual for now. But from the looks of it, the way it went, it sounds like she's making a transition. I don't know if men will still be a part of her repertoire. She started talking about she knew she liked women since she was 4 years old. So I don't know how long she'll even consider herself bisexual. It sounded like she was making a whole transition. But however, take your time. Do your thing, sis. Ain't no big deal. I just think they made more of this than it even had to be. It ain't had to be no big deal. And the thing is, we've seen lesbianism before. Mimi had a whole relationship. We've had, very open sexuality with some of these girls before. But Atlanta, Mimi got a whole woman. They're living together and everything. We actually went through the whole thing of them fighting it out where it was, and she was like more of a stud. So we already been there. So what was that all about? I don't know. It was never an issue before. It's never been an issue. I didn't get it. I don't know. I don't know. It was weird to me. Just seemed like a waste. But anyway, so Lil Tate, she overshared, I thought. It's the first time I ate some coochie. Okay, well, we don't need all that. We don't need all that. That was we're right there where you were skating the line. We didn't need all that. I didn't get that. That was kind of like, that was strange, because now you're literally having a first date with a person, and telling them, I'm just trying this for the first time, like actually dating. But yeah, I just ate some coochie, a week or so ago. Well, why are you on a date with me? Why aren't you on a date with the person whose coochie you was eating? See, now we already got an issue. See, your issue is not your lesbianism. It's not your girl power. Your issue is dumb shit coming out your mouth. Stupid moves. See, stupid games have stupid prizes. And to be sitting on a date with a person telling them that you ate somebody's box a week ago, there's where your issue is. It ain't the lesbianism. It ain't the whether or not you're going to be bi. Your issue is dumb ass decisions about what comes out your mouth and what you're sharing. Oversharing is what your problem is, Lil Tate. But anyway, and old girl, I was looking at her crazy because she's just sitting there. And I can pretty much tell you, if I'm sitting across from somebody and we're on a first date and they're telling me about how they had sex with somebody last week, I can pretty much tell you, in a minute, I'll probably be at my car, like, this is a waste of time. I ain't got time for this. Because if you ain't what we doing here? Child. Bad decisions about what you say out your mouth. Oversharing seems like the problem. And I'm babbling, so let's just move on. Mendeecees and Yandy. They got a storyline of convenience. They're trying to clean up their mess, basically. He takes her out to a restaurant. It's an apology for the comment he made in Arizona when he said he wouldn't have her back. He said he didn't mean it. He just said it. He had Queen Naja there singing. Okay, so this was just advertisement for Queen Naja. Cool. And then there was an invite to Dubai for them to get married. So then that raises the question of married again. Are y'all renewing vows or y'all actually get married this time? So we got to go back into that whole thing. Then the thing comes up, it's about Judy and Infinity. So we're just leading, it's a transition to lead into the next part of their situation. Mendeecees doesn't want Infinity to come to Dubai, actually. He really doesn't want anything to do with her. Flat out. We've been dancing and talking about this whole thing with Infinity. Mendeecees don't want nothing to do with Infinity. period. I don't know whether it has to do with just in general, or is it due to his parole. And I could the parole situation and not trusting her, that I can understand, but it doesn't feel like it's just that. It just feels like he just don't want nothing to do with that. It wasn't his decision. That was Yandy's decision. He just, I got my own kids. I wasn't interested in raising nobody else's kid, and I just don't want nothing to do with it. And that's what it kind of feels like. And the bad thing is that it's a conversation y'all should have had when you were still in jail. Because if you didn't, if he feels like this, it should have been said before, and then she could have just kind of left it alone. Because now it kind of feels like, I don't want to be bothered with that, and you need to leave it alone. You can't just leave it alone. They have a bond now. It's a whole situation now. She's her mother now. So she don't just go away. Even if she's not there in the house with you all, there will still be a bond. She's still a part of the family. You're still a part of the family, even if you're not in the house. There are children that don't live with their fathers. Their father is still a part of their life. There's children that live with the father and don't live with the mother. The mother is still a part of their life. That person doesn't stop existing. Now, she is an adult. You can't just act like she doesn't exist. She does exist. Y'all don't have to coexist in the same house, but her presence exists. She is still a part of Yandy's life. Period. So Mendeecees in that realm, very but that's him. We've known he's very selfish. He's very selfish. He's very self-centered, and Yandy is very easily swayed. And I don't get that. But you know, whatever. We're watching. Girl, in the court of public opinion, Mendeecees and Yandy, y'all losing. Y'all losing. And yes, she did wrong. Well, she did some of it very hard to actually form an understanding or accept an apology. But in the court of public opinion, you all are losing. I'm just telling you. Y'all losing. And it ain't got to be like that. Some boundaries can be set. She's not a child. She's not a child. No, you can't live here. That ain't that bad. It really isn't that bad. But to basically kind of say you can't be a part of nothing, we don't want you around, that's bad. That's bad. That's bad. There's a difference between I don't want you around and we can't coexist under the same roof. Parenting doesn't end because you don't coexist under the same roof. That's, you know, that's the total difference. That's an issue. To act like you don't exist, that's an issue. Anyway, moving on from that, because I've had enough of that. But with Judy, now they're going to Dubai for this whole thing. Yandy don't want to be bothered with Judy because Judy brings drama, and she does. We've seen her do it before. She does bring drama, but again, she's his mother. See, it's the same situation. You don't want to throw Judy away, just like she don't want to throw Infinity away. And if the other person is trying to make you do that, they out of order. Period. So it's the same on both ends as far as I'm concerned. She's his mother. Yandy, you got to deal. Mendeecees, she's her daughter. You got to deal. Here, it's real easy. It's real easy. Anyway, moving on. So look, they get to Dubai. Rasheeda is clearly pregnant. Okay, she's tired. She's having a little bit of morning sickness. She had ended up talking to Yandy. She said that she basically, her last cycle, she really just was spotting for the most part. She didn't run a whole cycle. She get nervous. She's not feeling good. She's queasy and all. Girl, you've been pregnant so many times, Rasheeda. You ain't got to play the game for us. We know your ass is with child. You got a baby pumped up in your behind. It's cool. It's okay. So now she's going to have to go ahead and talk to old Kirk and see what he said about that. Sierra, girl, now I'm looking at you, Miss Thing. Here's Eric. You bring Eric along. Eric is the guy that BK accused you of rolling around with, and you said no, 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 no. But then now you and BK are done, and bang, here's Eric. See, again, the way you move and the way you do things, Sierra, and you wonder why you get called a slut and a tramp and all these other things, it's because you kind of present yourself that way. Your movements are kind of slut-like. It's very fast. It's very fast. But it is what it is, girl. You and BK are done. We ain't got to go through it. Hello, Eric. Welcome to Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Period. We ain't got to talk about it no more. We all know you. We know how you did. Sade was in this spice store, and they were doing this little liquid, drinking this liquid that helps with libido. Kirk, you can put the liquid down. You doing all right, baby. You doing all right. That little thing, it still seems to be working. It still keeps catching Rasheeda up. Anyway, moving on. Last thing. Young Jock. There's this whole thing with Young Jock. Young Jock had went earlier in the program to see Fatima, which is the son's mother. And basically, the long and short of it is your past is kind of catching up with you. Where you didn't, you should have. And there's some animosity. Flat out. No, you weren't just in the streets not doing anything. Yes, you were building a career. Yes, you were working. But there's time that you could have spent that you didn't spend. And old boy feels some kind of way about it. Fatima feels some kind of way about it as well. And it seems as though over the years, it's kind of been spoken. And it's just a thing. There's some animosity. They feel like you could have put in more work. At your core, Jock, you feel guilty. And you feel like you could have put in more work as well. Then, now, Fatima is actually coming and she's basically saying, I felt bad for her. She's crying. She said, you know, she needs help. She notices a difference in her child. She notices that the energy is off. It all started since he was working at Jock's club, and there's some bad affiliation with some folks that he met at the club. Okay, this is kids. This is what they do. Young man. So this is the thing. Jock sees it as well. He feels very bad because of the fact that he met the people at the club. Now, I'm going to... I got some other questions, and I could be out of order, but I won't be me if I don't say it. I won't be me if I don't say it. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's me that's the only one that caught it like that, and that I'm completely wrong. But I'm going to hold it right here for just 1 second. Let me go ahead and do this. So, Jock goes back and he meets up again with the son. They're at the club. He says, let me meet up with my son here at the club so he can actually see the devastation that this situation has actually caused. And then I actually got an eye-opening because, remember, I don't go outside of the realms of the show, so I don't always see what's going on in the media. And I see where, okay, so the club has literally been closed. It's been ordered closed. It's a nuisance bar. It's been, you know, that's like the worst thing. If you're in a club or a bar, you don't ever want to be considered a nuisance bar because that's the beginning of the end. The club's been closed. They have a certain date by which to get everything out, and that's it. It's done. That business is gone down the tubes. Jock starts talking about when the cops were actually there investigating, and his son was actually there smoking weed. While the cops were doing their investigation, you're back here smoking weed. And so the son is saying, oh, here we go. So you're blaming me now. He's like, no, it's not that I'm blaming you. I'm just trying to make you see there's certain ways you move. Certain ways you move that just aren't good. And you have to knock that out. You got to learn it now. Right now, the detriment is mine. But things could have went differently. The boy, you know, somebody died. Somebody, your friend could have been killed. You know. And all of this all went on. You witnessed all of this, but you could have been on the wrong end of it. And then when it goes forward, now the cops are here, you're smoking weed, which basically shows them that we have no, oh, that's his son? Oh, we have, it said the cops can smell the weed. And they're like, it's just a disregard for their presence and a disrespect. It's this thing which you would disrespect. Now, Jock didn't say anything about him and the disrespect, but we clocked it at their last meeting. The son talks to Jock like he's one of his peers and not his father. I picked up on that, and I was like, that ain't gonna work, But whatever. So there's that. But again, I seen this animosity, and again, after watching him have the conversation with Fatima, I said, yeah, some stuff been said in that house, and it is playing out. Jock's past is actually meeting up with him in real time. On what you didn't do or what you did not being perceived to be enough as far as time goes with this child. So Jock's telling him, this is the loss of a multi-million-dollar business here that you're looking at. And he's saying, and the thing is, you are like really acting like it ain't no real big deal because it's me. If it was your mother, and he told him, hey, you already know the answer to that, it wouldn't be all like that. Again, my mother, I feel this way about my mother, I feel that way about you. Now, that's fair. That's fair, but there's a way to say everything. Jock didn't do real well with that. So then Jock, is starting to get heated. And Jock is saying, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to tell you I want the best for you. I'm not trying to blame you. I'm not coming at you. I'm just telling you some of what you're doing is just not going to go well if you continue going that way. This is what I'm doing here. And it's like there's this animosity, and I don't know what that is, and we got to get through. Child, and then the next thing I know, the son, he's like, I'm telling you, and you're talking about, he's like, I lost my business. I lost. You never checked on me. But you're checking on this other person, and he's like, this one mother. I said, remember the little piece I told y'all to hold on to this right here? Is it the group of friends, or is it this one specific person? Is the problem really about this one specific person? Because it seems like a whole lot wrapped around one specific person. And is there more to that? Y'all know what I'm talking about. When that one specific person comes up is when it seems Jock flies way off the handle. What's going on? Is there more to that? Is there some issue about that one specific person? I'm going to leave that right there. And we'll revisit it. Y'all go on in the comments and tell me, no, James, cut it out. Or tell me, does that seem very strange to you? Because after that, things flew all the way off the handle. The son, things got heightened. The son got to talking to Jock real different. He stood up and he talking to Jock. You're a little taller than Jock. And I said, before we went to the commercial break, I said, that ain't good. But when we came back from the commercial break, old Jock done went on and swung on him, honey. I seen that was getting out of hand. And it was bad. It was bad. Jock had done laid hands on him a little bit. Of course, they blacked it out so we couldn't see it. But I said, because you talked to your father like you was talking to a man on the street, so he kind of treated you like a man on the street. And that's where they were with it. And I was like, I get it. But again, I got questions. That little piece I held over here, I got questions. Why did the spark start flying so high at that point? Again, at the mention of that one person. I said, okay. But at the end of it, once it happened, Jock felt really bad. He felt really bad about losing his temper. He felt really bad about losing his shit like he did. And he felt really bad about reaching out and touching his son. He felt really, really bad. He did. And the son was shocked. You could see it kind of threw him off like, shit, I've been talking shit all this time. He ain't never did that. And I'm like, well, you do talk a lot of shit. You're talking to him like he's somebody off the street. So, I don't know. It's bad. That whole thing was bad. I felt really bad for both of them. And I said, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall once Fatima found out what happened. I don't know, y'all. Listen, I'm done right now. Leave it in the comments. We'll discuss it. Until next week. Later.